Hello and welcome back. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm actually really excited about this video today because it features two areas of Cairo that I absolutely love. They're probably my most favorite areas in Egypt altogether. I love most of Egypt, but there's something about these places. It kind of feels like very familiar and close to home to me, and I think just because it reminds me so much of back home, Serbia. And the two areas I'm talking about is Downtown Cairo and Maadi. In my first video, I showed a little bit more of a modern side of Cairo. We were in rehab and 6th October and just showed you like the malls and things like that. But this is actually the area of Cairo that speaks to me more and that I absolutely love. There's just something about the energy here, the architecture, the vibe. It is older than some of the other areas in New Cairo, and it has very much a French kind of Parisian vibe, particularly downtown Cairo. And it was built by the ruler at the time in like 1860, 1870. You guys can Google all this stuff up. But it was built to actually replicate Paris. So you see a lot of this type of architecture, the neoclassical and Nouveau buildings and things like that. And even though some of the areas are kind of worn down now, there's been a lot of rebuilding and renovation that's been happening over the last little while. So it's quite beautiful. I could get lost here for hours and hours. My husband and I just went for like a little day trip. We actually had to do something. My husband had to get his like international driver's license, and there's only one spot in downtown Cairo where you can get this done. And we took advantage, did a lot of walking, some window shopping, went for breakfast, and then we made our way to Maadi, which Maadi is like top of list for me. I love it so much. It was built by the British, and so it has a slightly different vibe, but equally beautiful, kind of rustic, imperfect, very green, as you'll see in the video. I'm not going to talk a lot here, just doing this intro to say hello and also to thank everyone because the previous Cairo video is doing really well. I'm just blown away and I'm very grateful, and to anyone who left me a comment and who subscribed and who's like watching all my videos, huge shout out to you guys. Again, my channel's still small, it's in the baby stages, so your support and your love is just making my day. Every day I'm waking up to new comments. It's just fantastic, so thank you so much for that. I hope you enjoyed this video. I decided to add sort of like jazzy swing music, which is typically what you would have heard. I want you to like take you back to like the 1930s, 1940s, when Cairo was kind of like the hub, you know, when that ruler at the time in the 1800s, he wanted it to be, he called it, I think it was like Paris, a new Paris on the Nile. And that's the vibe I want to give you. So just immerse yourself. Imagine it's like 1930, 1940, you're sitting in some cafe or you're walking the streets and this is what you see. So take it all in. I'll leave the captions as usual with just tidbits of information, but I hope you enjoy this little day in the more traditional, the soul of Cairo, really. At least that's how I see it, area of Egypt. Thanks so much again, and I hope to see you in the next one.